Welcome to the Zwartkops International Kart Raceway west of Pretoria in South Africa. In the DD2 category, it was going to be a two-way shootout between Benjamin Habig and Dino Sturman. Dino started the weekend well by qualifying on pole ahead of four-times champion Bradley Liebenberg, with championship leader Ben Habig in third, ahead of Brandon Smith and Jamie Smith.
No slipstreaming unless they wait for each other, and everybody has a clean circuit ahead of him or her. Wow. Also a few warm-up laps, a few time laps, and they'll come off the circuit. Just see how many of them there
Qualifying done and dusted, and you going, wow. Tell me about it.
I did not expect that. Honestly, I really didn't. We weren't really struggling for pace the whole weekend, but I didn't expect to get that lap in. My warm-up lap, which is the lap that doesn't count, was a 6.0, and I thought, wow, okay, no, we really got it. And then by the time I went into the last two corners, I had 3 green lights, and I was like, wow, it's going to be an awesome lap. And yeah, managed to get pole.
We're running the DD2.
What do you have to do this weekend?
That means
win every single heat. I've sort of come into this weekend not really thinking about the championship and the point gap. I've sort of had a different kind of mindset by just going out and trying to win every single heat.
Because there's a scenario playing itself out. Bradley can't go to the World Finals. His seat will go to Ben. If Ben wins the championship, you get that seat. Is that something that's in your head?
No. The only thing in my head right now is winning every single heat, and I think we got the car to do it, we got the pace to do it. So, yeah.
You obviously, and you showed it before, you like the circuit.
Yeah, it's not my favorite circuit, but I mean, in the past we've had some really good results. I mean, in Junior Max, I was like over 15 points behind, and we managed to turn it around.
I remember you did well,
yeah, so I think it's actually a track that, it's definitely not my favorite track, but I mean, yeah, I think we've always done pretty well. It's been a kind track to us.
You know, we've had a good run this season. We've managed to keep consistent. We've taken a few race wins. We've had a good run of pace. So coming into the final round, it takes a little bit of the pressure off. But yeah, I think we're looking to keep it clean this weekend and try to wrap the championship up.
There's obviously Dino who's in the shooting chance, but he needs to do all the work. You can sit back and just let him do the fighting. But there's other guys who want to put points, who wants to win races. Bradley for one. Boyd. There's other guys that actually want to win races as well. Do you let them just go about their business and keep a cool head, or is it a question, sorry guys, this is my championship, I still want to show dominance?
Yeah, I think you know, the guys are going to be a little bit aggressive. They want to finish the season on a high, you know, carry that momentum into next season. So yeah, I think we can expect a bit of the elbows coming out. So I think we just need to try to keep it clean, keep our focus for the year, which was obviously the championship. So I mean, if we have the pace, obviously we're going to put up a good fight, but we're definitely going to play it smart.
You've been, and I'm saying it in a nice way, you've been the bridesmaid a few times. Do you feel at this moment in time, and I get that feeling speaking to you throughout the year, that this is your year?
Yeah, I think it's difficult to say. Obviously, we've come second a few times, so I think how the championship's going at the moment, we're feeling quite comfortable. We've always come into around needing to do work. Now we sort of need to hold fort. So yeah, I think we'll do what we can, and hopefully it's a good result at the end of the day.
Bradley Liebenberg showing why he was a 4-time DD2 champion by getting a comfortable win over Brandon Smith, Ben Habig and Jonathan Thomas. Unfortunately for Dino Sturman, 7th place is not what he wanted after a nose cone penalty, which played in favour of Benjamin Habig.
It's up to Benji Habig and Dino Sturman now to try and find out who's going to get those 2 seats that are available for DD2.
Now, how's that? Brad Liebenberg is riding in one class here and affecting 2 others in principle.
And if you take into account, he wasn't going to do karting this year. He decided to only come in at the last minute. Great start from DD2s. Look at the experience that pays off there. Dino Sturman holds the line on the inside, but Brad goes around his outside and gets the whole shot. So Brad Liebenberg leads things out. Dino Sturman has got it all to do, remember, because his teammate, or his stablemate there, the second of those Tony karts diving through he tried to get through on Justin Addison, but he wasn't able to make it stick. He's in 4th place at the moment. Benji Habig has got a very good and comfortable margin in this championship. If he stays 3rd, 4th, 5th place, that's enough. The championship's his. it's up to Dino Sturman to go and ensure he takes as many points available here today and over this weekend as possible. And unfortunately, he's already lost out not only to Brad Liebenberg, but also to some issues yesterday with a nose cone infringement, which dropped him from potentially being at the front end and out of contention into 7th place in race number 1. So Dino has got a huge amount. What he's going to try and do, though, of course, he's going to try and push hard to get 2nd place in the championship behind Benji. And if he's done that, of course, then what will happen is if Benj takes the championship, he will then, of course, secure that 1 seat. He'll probably give that seat up to his teammate, Dino Sturman, and take Brad's Africa Open one because he finished 2nd in the Africa Open. So Benji's currently sitting pretty. No matter where he goes today, he's got a seat secured. It's all dependent on what happens now, of course, with Dino and whether or not Brad Liebenberg is able to do something next weekend in Cape Town in Polo Cups and GDC2 to make sure that he can maybe go and represent South Africa.
So Allison and Smith have a bit of upsetting of Dino Sturman to do, actually, if Brad and Benji are comfortable.
That's the idea, but they're not in contention, as you can see right now, as they come flying through there. Nicholas Verheul on Allison's tail, and the 52 cart under threat there from Verheul as he dives through. Good move there from him, and also, that was a late maneuver coming out of the 7-4 car of Rob Whiting. Rob had a big look, didn't quite make it stick. So if we look at the way things stand right now, Brad Liebenberg running at the front end means nothing. He's already got a seat. He's not really in contention for the championship. He's literally just out there to do everything right for his team and for his sponsors, Beryl Art. The championship rivalry sits there in 2nd and 3rd. And 2nd place at this stage is Dino Sturman in the right place he needs to be, with Benji on his tail. Now, Ben, if he carries on where he is and just fends off the attack coming out of Brandon Smith, Brandon Smith not in the championship really, looking for a little bit of last manoeuvres that potentially would spoil the day there for anybody else other than Ben Hubbig. And Hubbig is happy to let him go through because remember, I think it's a 4th, 5th or 6th place is all he requires over the 3 heats for this weekend to wrap up the championship. So he's not going to be fighting hard. He's going to drive the consolidation cart today. Oh, there's a problem on the sideline there. Is that 574, I think? Or 74, it's Rob Whiting. It's Whiting, it's Whiting that had that issue earlier on, and it looks like he's out of this one. That's a bit of a pity. But I was about to say, Ben doesn't have to worry about that like he did earlier on. He can now literally just take it easy. And as I was going to say, you don't necessarily have to take victories to win championships.
Hundreds. It's all about strategy and knowing what the long game is. It'll be interesting to see how Brandon Smith then takes advantage of the fact that he's got a bit more room to play. Possibly for a podium. So I'd like to see what his Ricardo, which in principle is a Burrell, how it performs and how he's able to wring as much performance out of it as possible.
Well, we just saw another maneuver there from Benji Hubbig just opening up the door and letting Nick Verheul through. Wasn't even defending. He just opened the door, said, "No, where you go? I'm happy there. No problem."
Benjamin Hubbig is a host today. He's not his home track, but he's still a host.
Just driving around saying, "Come with me, there's the cabinet there." If you look on the left-hand side, you'll see the karting timing box and the Liqui Moly Bridge, and now you can see the XPS corner as we come down here into turn 1.
This is where I overtook Brad the other day.
Yeah, I was having some fun here last time out. Brad ended up in the wall here a few times. No, he's literally giving you a tour of Zwartkops as opposed to having to fight it out.
Exactly.
And it's not a bad thing because it just shows you that he's done the work in the season, got it sorted, and comes into the final round and has got very little, if not a lot, to do.
Which is what Brad will be looking to do in the coming races. Outside of karting championships, going into Falcon Polo Cup and GTC, he wants to secure that kind of comfort so that he's able to compete on the grand stage. So he's going to have that kind of pressure going into
And to take you into that, he literally spent last weekend in Sano doing a bit of practice, getting himself set up, getting everything sorted, making sure he's got the right chassis, the right engine, the right setups that he requires. He's certainly going into the World Finals with a championship winning strategy and the right mindset as well, which is not a bad thing. So hats off to Benji and his team. As I said, if he is one of our drivers that heads off to Sano to compete in DD2s, we are certainly in with a great chance of a championship.
Yeah, you need that kind of build-up going into World Finals. You need to have dominated your domestic class to be able to compete.
And he has. He's literally been at the front end for the last 3 or 4 seasons and finished up, I think, bridesmaid about the last 4 seasons. So he's literally finished 2nd in the championship behind the likes of Brad, who's been a very dominant factor. And, of course, now you can see how dominant he is. I mean, look at the lap times. He's pulling 42.8s as opposed to the 42s and stuff that are 42.87s. 42.843. In fact, Dino is slightly quicker than him. They're in 2nd place. But Brad with it's under a 2nd lead there. But Dino, no answer to him just yet. Now a bit of a change up there, and you can see Ben Hubbig just returning the favour, and Verheul giving him the chance to return that favour, Justin Allison. And I think maybe Benji's thinking to himself, hang on a second, this pace is not quite what I want. I need to be a little bit quicker. I don't want to be that far back. Let's see if we can catch Brandon Smith and get through on him.
Though Wyman gets enough seat time between now and Sano, I mean, we'd love to see him actually do well and come back with laudable results from the World Championships.
That's our plan, and we are into, of course, heat number 2 here. Waylon Wyman's on the sideline. I wonder if there's a problem again.
Yeah, might have been issue.
Waylon Wyman had a problem yesterday.
Yeah.
So maybe there's the same problem as he gets going again. He has got going, so not quite working out to the plan that he wanted. I know that he wanted to be in DD2 to get a bit of experience, to have some fights and do what he needed to do to set things up. We've got 2 to go for these guys. And you can see Justin Allison has lost out there to Jonathan Thomas, who snuck through on him. And now it looks like Benji's just maintaining a good pace here, just behind Brandon Smith. Brandon Smith just up the road though, and there's not enough time, I don't think, for Brandon Smith to be caught by Benji unless he makes some kind of a mistake.
Brandon Smith is going to be chuffed with that result, and he's able to wring out as much performance as he could. So also gaining a lot of experience. I mean, seat time is exactly what you need. We've gone over that with Wyman. He's going to be a bit disappointed with how the weekend has gone so far, though. I think he definitely would have loved to be right up there, running as much as possible, if not at least being in the top 6 or 7.
Oh, we haven't seen much of Brad Liebenberg. We're probably going to pick up on him now as we start the final lap. There he goes down into turn 2. Dino Sturman closing in on him. Dino hanging on for second place, and remember, with that second place, also doing a great job of potentially giving it a 1-2 in this championship for the Tony Kart team. And that's probably why, another reason that Ben Hubbig has moved up there, just to try and defend anybody else coming through. But this man he's exceptionally talented when it comes to karting and any form of motorsport, actually. It's incredible to see that he ran at the front end of the Africa Open, won the Africa Open with no holds barred at all, came through, and now is in contention for a 3-for-3 win here at the final round of Rotax Max as he takes the second victory. And of course is in contention for 2 saloon car championships in the same season. So a very talented young man. Liebenberg takes the win. Let's get confirmation of the results. So Brad Liebenberg taking the win ahead of Dino Sturman with Brandon Smith and Benjamin Hubbig in the top 4. Verheul came through for 5. Jonathan Thomas in 6th place, and it's Justin Allison beating out Anton Pomershine. Dominic Lincoln there in 9th. And the top 10 is made up with Sharad Bantu. We'll be back with some DD2 Masters.
Yeah, so we started on in 2nd place and managed to get past Dino into turn 1. Then I think they had a little bit of a scrap into turn 2, managed to make a little bit of a gap there and got away. Then just kept my head down for the first few laps and try to maintain that gap. I think he slowly started coming, but it wasn't an issue. It was slightly by every lap, but just maintained the gap and we managed to come out on top.
No, I started pole, and then at turn 1, Brad kind of squeezed me to the inside. I hit the curb and I bogged. He managed to go around me. And then there was about a second gap for the whole race. And then towards the end, I was chipping like 0.1 into the time. The pace was pretty good. I think the kart fell off a little bit towards the end, but I was pretty chuffed with the pace. I just couldn't catch it. The gap was too big and we were very even, but we managed to pull away from everybody else. So I think that's a good result.
Okay, so the race was okay for us. We made a bit of a setup change, which definitely helped. We did a bit of a radical carb change, and unfortunately we went the wrong way, so we battled coming out of the corners. So we have something to work on for the 3rd race. But in the fourth at the end of the day, we had a good dice with Nick Verheul. It was quite cool. At the end of the day, it's not where we exactly want to be, but the car definitely has the potential. So we just need to get rid of the little errors that we're making, and we can definitely fight it back at the front.
Benjamin Hubbig has secured the championship, but we do still have a Dino Sturman. We're looking to secure 2nd place for his ability to get good position for the championship. Those are probably the races going to see up in the pace there. Of course, another who secured his position right at the top is one Brad Liebenberg. Bumped into him earlier and told him, look, don't make it look so easy. He just gave me a chuckle and went on and carried right on his day. So he's already established his pace several kart lengths ahead of one Abir, and it looks like a CRG there that I've got in the picture. I'm not sure who that is, but Dino Sturman is close behind in 4th place. We'll see if some of these racers had a good lunch or not. Brandon Smith is one of them. Oh, that was Nicholas Verheil in the CRG there. Another one who was telling me about how in Italy they had a bit of an incident last year when it was soaking wet, literally raining in monsoon, racing in monsoon conditions. His experience there overseas, some of that experience may come and make a difference for him in this race. And this heat that is second last of the day, there is still one more heat to go for them. We just finished the all 3 heats. We're just finishing all 3 heats with some of the junior classes. This is the last of the heats for the senior class. The masters, of course, are coming up to finish their 3rd heat. Then we're going on to heat 4 for the day. But tell you what, at the moment, Brad Liebenberg, of course, stretching his legs. He does have the legs on that barrel, as is expected of him. A bit of a tangle there between 2 racers. I think that was Dominic Lincoln, the number 19, and someone there just before the tunnel. Always a tricky place to navigate, especially with such high-powered machinery.
And the extra gears that they've got as well. Sorry to jump in so late, but just helping the stewards and the COC out with a little confirmation that they needed on our footage and just showing them where they could see it from one of the Bambino starts. The second start that we saw of the day from the Bambinos, and we all questioned whether it was going to be a start with the lead cart following the pace cart into turn 1 in the middle of the track. And we actually questioned it I just listened to it now quickly to sort it out with the stewards to say, is that going to be a start? And they let it go, but definitely wasn't, and they're now having a query on it, so they're going to try and sort that out. Anyway, let's get back into how the things are panning out here for DD2. Dino Sturman at the moment sitting comfortably in 3rd place, but of course 3rd place is not good enough for him if he wants to secure 2nd place, because he's got some work to do.
Yeah, he's got plenty of work.
Getting our race 4 grids here. Thank you very much, Mr. Bean. Appreciate that. But coming into, of course, the action that's still got to happen here today, we have got Benjamin Hubig, who has literally secured the championship. But after heat number 3, or heat number 2 here today, the championship has come down to about 40-odd points between himself and Dino Sturman. So Dino Sturman has got it all to do. The man he's got to worry about is Jonathan Thomas. And if we look at the way things are going right now, Jonathan Thomas is right on Dino Sturman's tail. So the battle for 2nd in this championship, 3rd on track.
Yeah, Jonathan Thomas is ahead, his helmet bobbling around there. He's looking very aggressive at the moment. He's obviously gotten as charged up as he needs to be to meet the challenge that he needs for 2nd in the championship. So not all is done and dusted. Definitely in DD2, that's a certainty. As you said before, Dino Sturman there working for the 2nd place. He looks like he has the pace so far. For Hill having to look over his shoulder for Thomas there, but it doesn't seem to be in range for any late ranking. Not yet, in any case. We do have quite a few laps. About 13 laps remaining of this.
I remember these are all 18 lappers now for the last 2 heats of the day, so it's the longer races that they've got to participate in for sure.
You can tell the laser eyes.
Thomas having a dive on the inside of Smith and tapping him, and Brandon Smith not happy about that. He's not happy about that.
Put an Italian gesture there.
He gave it the, what are you doing, huh? Bada bing, bada boom. Yeah, not the way you want to be doing that. But he had to have a go, because he's got to get ahead of Brandon Smith. He's unfortunately too far down now to affect any chances of catching Dino Sturman. Dino Sturman is going to make up 2 points on him here, or maybe even 3 points on him here, which will extend his lead again to 346. Yeah. So, yeah, it's going to be a bit of an ask here for Jonathan Thomas if he wants to be in the top 3. And remember, he's also got to take into account that Brad Liebenberg is out front and may drop him out of the top 3 in this championship.
Yeah, exactly. So he's not happy with Brandon Smith being in front of him there. Now, the thing is, Thomas, knowing that he's got a lot of work ahead of him, he's got a lot to work for, has a very fast Brandon Smith who just passed him. Now, Thomas's pace is not reflective of someone who is in such a battle as we've spoken of.
Yeah.
So he's got a lot of frustration probably building up at the moment. We do still have a few laps to go. It's not all done and dusted yet. About 6.5 to 7 laps left. So he can still build up a bit of pace, but with Justin Allison behind him and closing in, it's not going to be an easy one. And the younger Smith, also in the shot there in the 33, Brandon's little brother is also in the mix there with the DD2s.
Championship 1 and 2, and a change up. Oh, there's a bit of team strategy coming into play there, I think. Ben Hubig opening up the door, letting Dino Sturman through, maybe moving him up 1 position to give him a little bit of extra points. Yeah. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Good thinking there from Benji. He set the pace. Dino's caught him. He's now going to sit right on Dino's tail and just play the tail gunner role and not allow anybody else, including Nicholas Verheul, to come anywhere near Dino Sturman. So if Dino Sturman now moves up to there, that'll give him an additional 2 points, making 375 for the second that he's going to get. So 375 will play 3... It's going to be tight, eh? I can tell you. Jonathan Thomas is definitely going to drop back into 4th place. Brad Liebenberg is going to move into 3rd. And with Brad Liebenberg's move into 3rd, he will be 3 points back on Dino Sturman.
Oh, jeez.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
That's if he wins the heat.
Or the following heat.
So if he wins the final heat, and Dino has then got to be, I'm just going to work out the permutations there. So if he finishes on 372, no, Dino will have 2nd place. He can't catch Dino. He can't
get to him.
Oh, he'll get 3rd. He'll definitely get 3rd in the championship, but he can't catch Dino. No matter where, Dino can finish out of the top 14 and still get 2nd place in the championship. So that's not going to hurt Dino at all. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's too late for Brad there to be affected. But nothing wrong with the way we're seeing the way that Team Tony Kart want to play here, and doing a great job to formation fly for 2nd and 3rd place. And of course, that is 1st and 2nd in the championship. 3rd place just up the road for them, about to go for the win in about half a lap's time.
Yeah, and the timing of the strategy is evident. Definitely is a strategic move, because we've got about 2 laps, 1.5 laps to go. So Benji very aware that he's going to try and give Sturman a bit of a bump up in the right direction. But it looks like the home stretch coming 4-1 Brad Liebenberg. As ever, the headline, if karting ever had a bulletin, it would be this man's kart out of the front. He secures 1st place, ahead of Dino Sturman and Benjamin Habig.
So in confirmation of those results is Brad Liebenberg from Dino Sturman. Then it was Benjamin Habig just behind his teammate Nicholas Verheul in 4th, Brandon Smith, as you mentioned, in 5, and Jonathan Thomas just being beaten down into 6th place and losing 3rd place in the championship with that move. It's Jamie Smith, Rob Whiting, Waylon Wyman and Anton Pomershine that make up the top 10. We'll be back soon with DD2 Masters.
Yeah, I started 2nd again, managed to get past Dino into turn 1 again, and yeah, I think Benji got past him, and then they had a little bit of a scrap, and I got away, and then yeah, I just looked after the tyres in the beginning, waited for the car to turn on, and then yeah, started pushing a little bit harder, and then yeah, towards the end, kart felt good. So, I gave it a little bit of a rest for 2 laps, and then I pushed hard again, and then, yeah, managed to duck into the 42s again. I'm not too sure where it puts me for the start of the last race, but, 2nd place hasn't been bad to me today. Starting on the outside, I managed to get past, in all 3 races into turn 1. But, yeah, it was a good race. Got to say thanks to the team. They've done an awesome job to prepare the kart the way it is. It's on rails, and, yeah, hopefully it's more of the same for the rest of the day.
Yeah, so we managed to get the championship sorted yesterday in the first race, so we were quite happy about that. Took a lot of pressure off for today. So the goal today was just to sort of have a good end to the season, good clean racing. Yeah, so far we've been involved in 1 or 2 scraps, so it's been quite entertaining. The kart's not quite where we want it. We're battling a little bit, trying to find the perfect sort of setup to run Comma 1 faster, but it is what it is. So we came 3rd in this last one, so we're consistently in the top 3, top 4. So that's all we're asking for today, and yeah, just having a good day. 1 more heat left for the season, so hopefully we can end it on a high.
Brad on pole means Brad could potentially hole shot and disappear, and I'll put money on that.
Signature Brad.
Signature Brad in karting is Brad Liebenberg on the front, pole position, with nothing to lose. Goodbye, take care then, and we'll see you in 2020. Exactly as I said that, and there you go. Dino Sturman around the outside of his teammate. Benji Habig squeezes in between him, goes into 2nd place. Dino goes to 3rd. It's Brandon Smith into 4th with a good start there from Justin Allison. Allison under attack though from Jonathan Thomas, and some touching in the background there. Little bit of touching there. Yeah, 33 just getting a little smack on the nose there as Dominic Lincoln came through on the inside trying to find a way past. Not the way Jamie Smith wanted to start this one, that's for sure.
No, not at all. He wants to mimic older brother who got a 3rd place finish in the earlier heats. He'd also like to get a clean finish for the last one of the year. Also a young man cutting his teeth with the big boys. And let's see if the Tony Kart team strategy is going to come in play here. Benjamin Habig seems to be keeping with Brad Liebenberg. I thought by now he would have opened quite a significant gap with some aggressive lap times. That is Brad Liebenberg, but Benjamin Habig still seems to be with him, and that would mean Dino Sturman also is in the running because he's got a good toe on that.
Down through the tunnel they go, and of course it's 18 laps of action that we've got here for DD2s. There goes Benji for the lead on Brad Liebenberg. First time that Brad has been betted this weekend. Benji squeezes through and says, listen, this is my house. I'm winning the championship. You're going to follow me today.
I'm the host, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm the host, yeah.
Come with me. I'll show you how to go around this track fast.
Oh, geez.
It's a hard one to say when you're talking about Brad Liebenberg, who knows this track backwards.
Precisely.
But of course, the two of them have been arch rivals, but very good friends off track as well for a long, long time. And I think Brad realizes that, when it comes to this kind of a day, you may just want to give it up to your mate and give him a chance to get that final victory to secure his first karting championship in DD2.
Yeah, it's that type of thing, man. Benji obviously will want that, that picture finish, that perfect, clean sweep, let me say, for the weekend. But Dino Bambino is still in third place, but he's struggling a bit with Jamie Smith. He hasn't yet caught up to the front two there, Brad Liebenberg and Benjamin Habich. But you'd think by now Benjamin's being out front would have sort of stymied Brad Liebenberg's run. But he hasn't yet closed the gap, and Dino Sturman, they're getting involved with Jamie Smith, but he's Brandon Smith there, but he's sort of cleared that, and even though he's looking over his shoulder, it doesn't look like he has much to worry about for the time being, at least.
Dino stays where he is behind Brad. He will secure second place. It'll be 1-2 for Tony Cott, third place for Burrell.
Yeah,
that's probably what they're planning on doing here, is to try and get the 1-2 for the Tony Cott team.
Yeah. Brad Liebenberg still has Benjamin Habich in his sights, but he's opened the gap now. It's not exactly as close as he was. Brandon Smith has been a factor this weekend, at least for the past few heats. He may be able actually to trouble Dino a bit there, if Dino doesn't sort of pick up the pace and make more aggressive moves. But it's an 18-lapper, that's the thing. I mean, how aggressive do you want to get this early on when you have often than not, especially in this championship, a lot less to play for than the others?
Yeah, we are in for a bit of a fun and game little fight here at the end, possibly for 3, 4, 5 and 6th place.
Yeah.
But I think 3, 4, 5 and 6th place is where the battle might rage by the time you get into the latter part of this race. Right now, Benji controlling things, Brad sitting comfortably in second, Dino just about to come under attack there from Brandon Smith. Brandon Smith looking to spoil the day there for Dino Sturman, who is looking for second place in the championship, but of course third place on the track at the moment.
Jonathan Thomas approaching Brandon Smith there, is very close to him. He had a good run up the hill. He may line up a move on Brandon Smith that he's not aware of. See if he's going to be looking over his shoulder. Okay, he doesn't know he's there just yet, so he's focusing on Dino Sturman. But Jonathan Thomas is one to watch out for. He does have the pace, and they've opened a gap over against Justin Allison, a very experienced karter. Seems to have opened the gap, and it looks unlikely. So Thomas had a really good run up the hill and has a lot more top-end power, mid to top-end power than Justin Allison, so he's able to open the gap there. But it looked, Allison looked very much threatening for some of the sections there. Jamie Smith is heading that pack of 3. Brandon Smith, rather. Jamie Smith is his younger brother in the 33 karts, a bit further afield. That is in 10th place at the moment, just ahead of Palmer Smythe, and a mistake, that is the number 81 kart rather of Sharad Banto, just ahead of Nicholas Verheul in the 39 kart in 13th, and Wayland Wyman, I'm sorry to see him so much further down. I mean, he did have a bit of bad luck. He wasn't able to finish his prior heats today, but he's now all the way in last place. Hasn't been able to really perform the way he'd want, but of course he is getting a sort of practice run and cutting his teeth in DD2, because going overseas, I mean, it's going to be totally new for him, so he wants some sort of competitive advantage going into it. A lot of experienced riders that he's going to be going against, so he wants to make sure he has as much seat time as possible in a DD2. Brad Smith kind of stretching his legs out against Benjamin Habich now, not so bumper to bumper anymore. Perhaps because Dino Sturman is now a factor. He's coming a bit closer. Oh, there you go, Brad Liebenberg. He's no longer the sandwich between the Tonys. Going down to turn 2, Dino Sturman makes a move on Benjamin Habich and makes it stick, although it looks like lost a bit of speed there. We'll see what happens at the tunnel if Habich answers back. And he does. They're side by side going in there. Who has a better run? Ooh, who came out tops there? The Tonys, I can't tell them apart at the moment. Okay, it was Benjamin Habich and Dino Sturman. Oh, no! The Tonys just came. What happened to the teamwork? this whole time we're talking about teamwork. Dino Sturman goes on the inside of Benjamin Haber at the double right and just knocks him right off the track. Dino Sturman seemed to come off better of the two. Benjamin Haber doesn't seem to have taken much damage to his car, but that is just, oh man, that's unfortunate. I don't think it's going to be very, very polite words between the two. I know I said unfortunate, but they're not going to be talking about unfortunate things off the track later, but hopefully things don't boil over too far. But that really was not a clean move by Sturman on Haber, but they've both come out okay. Their cars are fine, although they've lost positions. So how it stands now, it's Brad Liebenberg, Brandon Smith getting a second place. I've been talking about Brandon Smith, and there he is. He's gotten one better than a podium. He's going to be ecstatic. Jonathan Thomas, now out of nowhere, promoted to the third place. He's got a podium position. Justin Allison in fourth. Dino Sturman there in fifth. He came out better from that coming together with Benjamin Haber and Anton Pommersmith in sixth there. We're looking at 4.5 to 5 laps remaining of this race, the final race. Jonathan Thomas there having number 52 filling up his visor there, or the number 52 of Justin Allison. And Dino Sturman now, it's regret really at this point. I mean, he's back all the way back with the likes of Jamie Smith there in the 33 and Robert Whiting in the 74 Intrepid. Dino Bambino. He has to clean his act up. Now he's got a lot of making up to do, but it's not likely. He's not likely to see that podium the way things stand. I mean, it's going to be a bit difficult for him to build up on 3 laps to go, and looking at the lap times, it's definitely not going to be easy. He is leading up the train of 3. Jamie Smith feeling confident and well done, makes it stick. Let's see if he's able. He's probably going to defend here, puts his hand up in thanks to that is Robert Whiting there in the Intrepid, keeping it clean for him there. I think Jamie should keep both his hands on the steering. I'm just saying. I'd advise him to do that. I would do the same in such a fast car, but he's had a great run going up the hill there. Looks to have good pace. Dino Sturman has a better gap now because of that exchange between Jamie Smith and that is Robert Whiting. As they come into frame there down the main straight, Dino still has a good advantage. Jamie seems to have a lot of pace. Now he's putting his nose in. Wow, Jamie Smith, you go. He has got a lot of courage for someone still cutting his teeth in DD2. Having a look there on the inside of Dino Sturman at turn 1, but it just couldn't stick. And the momentum he had going into it, he just braked way too late and ended up knocking Dino Sturman a bit, but none of them came off. Dino Sturman put his hand up, I don't know if in apology or in to say, are you okay? You good there, mate? But nothing dirty there afterwards. Both riders still on, which is great. But now the Intrepid is the meat in the sandwich in between Dino Sturman and Jamie Smith. 1 lap to go. Benjamin Haber pretty much he's wrapped up his championship. Nothing in it for him. Brad Liebenberg, of course, will be finishing if it stays this way. If nothing happens, it's unpredictable. You never know what's going to happen. But Brad Liebenberg at the double right at the moment, going up the hill. Class drive, typical drive for him. He is Brad Liebenberg after all the experience at this track. And as he approaches the double left, it is a win for Brad Liebenberg, who's got quite a dilemma for a racing driver. Hey, where do I win? Where do I choose to race? He's spoiled for choice in terms of championships this year. But he takes the win here. But of course, our champion is one Benjamin Haber. In second place, Brandon Smith, a surprise second place. He did not expect that. It would be nice to see the grin on his face, as well as his family's doing very well there in the Ricardo karts. Justin Allison in third. He didn't see that coming. Neither did Jonathan Thomas's fourth. In fifth place, we have Anton Pommersheim. And in sixth place, Dominic Lincoln. Dino Sturman there in seventh, coming off better than Benjamin Haber after they're coming together. Jamie Smith just behind him in 8th. Robert Whiting in 9th. Benjamin Haber, his 58th kart. Even though he's champion, nothing to cry about. He's 10th place. He's already secured the championship anyway. Shariat Banto there in 11th. Looking at Jürgen Pommersheim, brother to Anton. In 12th place, 13th place went to Nicholas Verheil, as well as Wayland Wyman there in last place. So they both got a DNF.
Yeah, it wasn't an easy race. Obviously pretty stoked that we managed to get 4 out of 4 on the wins on the day. I think Benj got past us in the beginning there. The kart just took a while to turn on. And then I just sat and waited until I felt comfortable. And then he made a little bit of a mistake into the tunnel, and that opened up the opportunity to overtake him here into pit bend. And I got past him, and then I think I tried to put in a few, I think it was 2 laps of some good pushing. Managed to pull a little bit of a gap, and I think then Dino and him had a bit of a coming together, and that just cleared the way for me to take the victory. And all in all, good weekend. 4 out of 4 wins, like I said. Very, very happy, and just have to say thanks to the team again for putting together this kart. Last night they worked till late sorting out some issues and finding some issues, and it worked out today, and very happy. And it's a bit unfortunate with the championship where we were coming into the round obviously being 9th, and to finish off in the top 3 is a very good achievement. It's unfortunate because I think it would have been very tight if we didn't have some issues during the year in the previous rounds, because obviously coming out and winning 4 out of 4 would have put a good statement on the table. And we end the year on a high, and couldn't be happier.
Yeah, I think today wasn't obviously our best national. Became a little bit unraveled here at the end, but overall we're happy. We managed to find some pace for the final heat, so we led a few laps. So the kart was handling better. It was just unfortunate what happened between me and Dino, a bit of a racing incident. I think those things happen. He went for the move. We left a bit of space, obviously not enough, and he managed to hit my rear wheel, so it took us up. Chassis a bit bent, but at the end of the day we got the title, which is what we wanted. So we're quite happy, and we had a good day. Well, a relatively good day. We had fun, so we're very stoked with the results, and good way to end on a high.
Annie, you've had Benj involved in Rotax now for quite a few years. Other than the nationals, you've always also attended a couple of internationals. Talk to me about the Rotax phenomena, the Rotax series, and why you choose to race in there.
Well, when we started karting, I quickly realized that it is important for the youngsters to compete in a class that's got at least 15 to 20 competitors in the class, and it was sort of the Rotax popped up at that time, and we decided to do the DD2 classes for Benjamin. It's been pretty good, and of course, once you win a ticket, once you get overseas, the equipment is very equal. So you draw your equipment out of a hat, and it sort of levels the playing field, and it all comes down to the driving skill. It's a great feeling for myself to have Benjamin win the title. I think it really boils down to this same old fact that, guys, if you want a result, you've got to put a lot of effort in. And up until now, we've been very busy with schoolwork and all sorts of other activities. This year we decided we'll concentrate on karting, and it's obviously paid off. I think it's really, for the youngsters to do well in karting, it's very much a team effort. There's a lot of input from the parents' side, because it's become very technical, and it's quite difficult actually to achieve good results. And it's a tremendous amount of practicing 2 weekends before each national. If the national's in Cape Town, we'd go down to Cape Town and compete there 2-3 weeks before the time. And so it is for every national event. Then we'll do the regionals as well. So, we would be doing a good 20-25 events per year, plus the practicing beforehand. So, there's quite a tremendous effort that goes in and getting the equipment up to standard.